Honor Robot Phone. Oh, must be a concept device. They're actually mass-producing this thing and selling it. And when I first heard about it, I thought the same thing. Okay, what are they actually going to do with a motorized camera? Maybe just use it to stabilize your footage? But Honor clearly had something much bigger in mind, because this isn't just a smartphone with a weird camera gimmick. Honor is calling this a new kind of smartphone, built around the idea that your camera doesn't always have to stay fixed in one position. So let's break it down, level by level. At the most basic level, here's what makes this phone so different. Open the camera app, hit the button at the bottom, and the camera physically rises out of the phone. It pops up, calibrates itself, and is ready to shoot. And honestly, the animation is ridiculously satisfying. But the real reason for all of this is stabilization. The camera isn't just relying on software to make shaky footage look smoother. It's sitting on a physical gimbal that can actually move. So when you move the phone up, down, left, or right, the camera can compensate for that movement in real time. And the difference is surprisingly noticeable. A normal smartphone can still show a lot of movement when you're walking or deliberately shaking the phone. But with this system, the camera can physically fight against that movement and keep the shot looking much more stable. And somehow, Honor managed to fit the entire mechanism inside a phone. The motor is incredibly small, but it has enough movement to make a noticeable difference. So this isn't just a camera that looks cool when it pops out. There's an actual reason for it being there. But then you realize the gimbal isn't just for stabilization. You can actually control it. Inside the camera app, there's a joystick that lets you move the camera around. Drag it left, and the camera moves left. Drag it up, and it moves up. You can even adjust the responsiveness so the camera can react slowly for smoother cinematic movements or faster when you need it to follow something. And then Honor adds some pretty fun cinematic presets. For example, select the 90-degree movement and the camera automatically performs a smooth rotation. There's also a 180-degree option that can tilt the camera upward and rotate it all the way around. You could use something like that for a creative shot of the sky, a building, or even a night scene. The important part is that you don't have to manually perform the movement. The phone does it for you. Then, there are different modes that change how the gimbal behaves. There's tilt lock, which tries to keep the horizon level even while you're rotating the phone. Then there's FPV mode, where the camera follows the movement of the phone more naturally. There's also a vertical version for downward-looking shots. And then you've got super steady, which combines different stabilization behaviors to keep the footage as smooth as possible. And this is where the built-in design becomes really useful. With a normal smartphone gimbal, you have another device to carry around. You have to charge it, connect it, attach your phone, and then balance everything before you start shooting. Here, you just pull the phone out of your pocket. The gimbal is already there. Now we get to the part that makes this feel less like a phone and more like a little robot. Because the gimbal doesn't only respond to you, it can also control itself. Tap a person or an object, and the camera can automatically start tracking it. Move the subject around the frame, and the camera physically follows. If the subject briefly disappears behind something, the system can even try to predict where it's going to come back and continue tracking. It's not perfect. There are definitely situations where it can lose the subject, but when it works, the response is surprisingly quick. You can move an object around the frame and watch the camera constantly reposition itself to keep it centered. And that's where this starts becoming more than just a cool demo. The tracking also has a pretty wide range. Honor says the gimbal can track across roughly 310 degrees, so instead of being stuck looking in one direction, the camera can rotate almost all the way around to keep following the subject. And that means the same moving camera can basically work as both a rear camera and a front camera. So if you're filming yourself, you don't necessarily need to switch over to the selfie camera. The main camera can physically turn and keep you in the shot. For solo creators, that's potentially a really useful feature. And here's something that's important. The moving camera isn't just some low-quality sensor designed to make the phone look futuristic. It's a 200-megapixel main camera with an f1.6 aperture and a 1/1.28-inch sensor. So you're getting serious camera hardware behind the gimbal. And there are other cameras too. You've got a 50-megapixel ultra-wide, a 200-megapixel telephoto, and a 50-megapixel front camera. So even if you don't need the moving camera for a particular shot, you still have a full camera system available. And this is probably where I see the biggest potential. Imagine putting your phone down, selecting yourself as the subject, and just moving around. The camera can follow you instead of requiring someone else to stand behind the phone and operate it. That could be useful for cooking videos, workouts, tutorials, product shots, travel videos, or even just recording yourself without having to constantly check the framing. Normally, you'd need another person or some kind of tracking accessory. Here, it's built directly into the phone. And I think this is what Honor is really trying to prove. If this were just a motorized camera that makes a few cool movements, then sure, call it a gimmick. But it's doing several things at once. It can stabilize your footage, you can control it manually, it can track people and objects, it can automatically move to keep a subject in frame, and all of that is happening inside the phone. So the interesting part isn't simply that the camera moves, it's that the camera can actually react. And that changes how you can use a smartphone camera. Is it perfect? No. The tracking can still miss sometimes, and the default image processing isn't always perfect. But the hardware concept is genuinely impressive. This isn't just another smartphone with a slightly better camera. It's a phone where the camera can move, stabilize, track, and react to what's happening around it. And if Honor keeps improving this idea, I could see this becoming much more than a one-generation gimmick. Because maybe the future of smartphone cameras isn't just better sensors, maybe it's cameras that can actually move with you.